Everybody, Joseph Christ here from PAX Prime 2013, and I'm here with Jake Kasdal, leader, CEO, head honcho of 17-Bit Productions, correct?
That's right.
Developers of Galak-Z. So I just played it. It's really fantastic. It's sort of a old-school shooter with a new coat of paint type of thing, correct?
Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of everything that is a shooter culminated into one package. We're taking high-end AI, high-end sort of modern physics and game design, and shoving that into the kind of looking through the lens of a 16-bit classic shooter. So it looks like an old school game, but it really is very modern.
Yeah, and it has a great sort of a Saturday morning cartoon feel.
Yeah,
so like there's sort of the intro sequence, and every time the game loads, it says we'll be right back, sort of like a commercial type of thing. It's really cool.
We're very going for that sort of episodic, cartoony action adventure that we all grew up with, and it's kind of a genre and sort of a look that's been sort of forgotten about lately. So we thought we'd kick it back in there.
Yeah. So you have one. This is the demo I played. We have one ship. We're searching through these caverns. Sort of asteroids feel to it. You have main lasers. You have missiles that have a really cool lock-on system that works really neat. So what's the basic story behind all this that I was going through?
So the basic story, which we didn't really get a chance to explain all this in the cutscene, but you're part of this big Earth defense armada sort of thing. You're out deep at space. You're at war with the Imperials. The Imperial aliens are coming in. And there's a terrible ambush, and your entire fleet basically gets wiped out, except for one sort of mothership that was hiding behind a moon. They're damaged, but they managed to get away, and you were the last remaining fighter. You're like blacked out in space, and you come to, she kind of calls you back to the ship, and you guys are deep behind enemy lines, enemy territory. Your ship is damaged. You don't have warp crystals to jump to the next system. You need scrap metal from destroying other enemies and stuff to like rebuild your systems and your ship, get it back online, and try to get back to human space.
Okay. Yeah, so I noticed that I was I was shooting scrap metal, shooting enemies, I was getting missiles. I was also getting sort of resources. So in the game, how are those sort of used?
So those are the scrap metal that you'll use to bring back to your mothership and rebuild the panels that are missing, and, fill the holes that are leaking oxygen and fuel and all this stuff. And as your ship gets more and more put back together, you can jump further and further into different systems to get, heading back towards home.
Okay, you use those for ship upgrades as well?
Ship upgrades, you're going to be constantly upgrading your little fighter too, constantly modifying it. Pretty much between every mission, you're going to come back, you're going to find scraps of enemy technology, blueprints for other things like different kinds of missiles, all this kind of stuff. So you're constantly upgrading your ship, becoming more and more capable over the course of the entire game.
Nice. So let's talk about the jumping to other levels. That's kind of interesting. How kind of big and expansive is this world going to be?
Quite big.
Yeah.
We have a lot of work to do still. We're looking at a launch of next year.
Okay, so it's still
next summer.
pretty early.
Yeah, this is our first playable demo.
Okay,
so a lot of that stuff is like on paper, but not in the game yet.
Yeah.
But the idea is that there will be a narrative-based sort of tentpole missions. It kind of imagine something like Red Dead Redemption or Fallout 3, where there's like a big open world, and then there are these sort of tentpole missions placed within that world that are sort of narrative-driven, that'll take you through the story, but there's a lot of stuff to do playing around in space.
So just a lot of exploration and
finding weird civilizations, the ruins of things, ruins, a lot of, there have been a lot of space battles out in this area, so there's a lot of giant hulks of old space wrecks that have all kinds of hidden treasures in them. There's space pirates that are mining these things for resources and stuff. They don't get along with the Imperials. There's giant space bugs, all the classic space monsters and stuff in there. They don't get along with anybody. They'll eat anybody that comes close. So because you're so outmanned and so outgunned, the best thing to do is to kind of pit these factions against each other.
I noticed that like someone was getting chased, and they're like, "Oh crap, what am I going to do?" So they ran. They brought the enemies. They sort of like led them through all the bugs that were there. So the bugs are sort of attacking them and slowing them down so they can get away.
So you got to be on your toes. But if you know where these things are and you know how these bugs sort of are going to probably react, they will come after you too. So you got to be light on your toes. But using them against each other is kind of a key to success.
Yeah, it's really cool. It has this great sort of AI dynamic. I think you were talking about that a little bit. You were talking about the AI dynamic a little bit.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, you were talking about the AI dynamic a little bit.
Oh, right. They're very conscious-like. They're reacting to conditions happening in the game in real time, versus pre-programmed scripts. But also they have behavior types, and there's soldiers, there's scouts, there's barracudas, there's the sentinels. So they all have different personalities and aggressiveness or passiveness, but in reality, you play the game 1,000 times, it'll be different 1,000 times, because they're conscious-like, as I said, and they're reacting to what is happening around them right then, instantaneously.
Sorry for pulling you over. I thought that was really interesting. I heard you talk to the other guys. I was like, come here, I want to talk to you
about
that.
It's very advanced kind of AI, very advanced squad tactics. These guys are looking for you. When they see you, they'll sort of radio you in. They'll hunt you down. They got fantastic pathfinding. But more than anything, they'll work together as a group. If you pay attention, you'll watch the larger, more stronger ships will kind of take point. The littler ships will kind of stay on the periphery, kind of blocking you in. They'll try to pinch you in. They'll get you into a firing triangle. And they'll really kind of hold you in. They'll be calling for backup. It's best to kind of take them out bits and pieces at a time. If you run too much, you'll get this giant armada chasing you, and then you've got to take them all out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, very dynamic. Different experience every time you play through it.
Oh yeah.
So this is I'm part of Sentient AI, and this is our first studio. This is our first game using our AI, period, of anybody. So we've got this awesome partnership going with 17-bit. They took a chance on us, we kind of took a chance on them, and we think we're doing something different and special.
Yeah, I love it. So we have the missiles and we have the lasers. What kind of other weapons or just variations of those weapons are you going to be able to have?
Variations. I mean, we want to have a lot of different, stuff. We've been looking at things like Borderlands 2, and I would love to be able to constantly be tweaking and tuning to kind of to your taste. Go back to your ship every time. Maybe you had a tough time on a mission. You realize that something a little bit more long range would be a stronger weapon for this kind of mission. Being able to tune and tweak with that stuff, people love that kind of thing, and it'll give it a lot more, longevity in terms of just playing it over and over again.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I love what I played. Launch systems, PC,
PlayStation
only?
4 and Steam.
Okay, great.
Possibly Vita. We're looking into that right now.
Awesome. Fantastic. Great. And next year, you're saying 2014?
Probably next summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, sir. Sorry for pulling you in. I'm like, come here. I want to talk to you. AI was cool. Come here.
I'm expecting Jake's fist to head in my direction. No, get rid of him.
No. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. 4playernetwork.com, PAX Prime 2013.